Oh man, what video is this? 113? Shit. Alright, we're almost done with the fundamental videos, guys. Probably another, I'd say 3 to 5 videos. The end is near before we just move on exclusively to the intermediate topics. Dang. Just looking back how far we have really come since March as a channel together, guys. Wow. Alright. Hit that intro, Crossroads. Hit that intro. Hello, I'm Peter and welcome to another Tekken Beginner's Fundamentals video. So, in this video we will explore the wake-up system in Tekken. Now I thought when making the sidestep video that was going to be the most complicated topic, but then I had forgotten about this topic. And I'm going to warn you right now. This is by far one of the most complicated topics that will be discussed in the Beginner's Fundamentals series. The Tekken wake-up system is hands down, one of the most complicated, if not the most complicated wake-up system in all of fighting games. So in this video, we will cover what makes the Tekken wake-up system so damn complicated, what the different options are on wake-up, how to tech roll, how to delay wake-up, how to, you get the idea. It's complicated. In fact, it's about as complicated as your standard college relationship. So pretty fucking complicated. Now, as a reminder, if you enjoy learning all things Tekken or just being entertained in general, consider subscribing, hitting that notification bell, and getting the latest on all the new content I have to offer you. So without further ado, let's get going. Grounded positions. Now, before we can get into the wake-up system of Tekken, we'll need to go over the grounded positions in the game. And this is crucial because based on which direction you are facing or how you're rather oriented on the ground will determine what your wake-up options are. There are some grounded positions that are more favorable than others, but we're gonna get to that later. So just quickly going over the 4 different grounded positions, they are as follows. Face up, feet towards, face up, feet away, face down, feet towards, and face down, feet away. So at some point in your Tekken career, you will see all of these various grounded positions. It all really depends on the character you're facing, the combo that the opponent decides to do, or a whole host of other things, but eventually you'll encounter all these grounded positions. So remember to keep these in mind as I will be referencing back later in the video for this. Psst, it's going to be really important to keep this in mind. Landing recovery. Upon landing from an airborne state, usually via a launch, there are 2 main recovery options. That's tech rolling and quick recovery. Tech rolling. Because Tekken is a complicated game, tech rolling is divided into 2 categories. You have 2 options here. One is side roll and the other option is back roll. Now hitting 1, 2, 3, or 4 as soon as your character hits the ground will perform a quick side tech roll. The character will initially recover in crouching for a split second, so all full crouching attacks as well as while standing attacks can be performed from this state. Pressing 1 or 2 will cause the character to roll into the background, and 3 and 4 will cause the character to roll into the foreground. Now, don't think of it as pressing 1 or 2 for left and 3 and 4 for right. No. 1 or 2 for background and 3 and 4 for foreground. It's the same input whether you're on player 1 or player 2 side, since background is background and foreground is foreground, regardless of if you're player 1 or player 2. The controls are not reversed like they are for sidestepping, where if you want to sidestep left, then you have to press up on player 1, and if you want to sidestep left on player 2, you have to press down. It's not like that. So, during this roll, there are some frames of invulnerability. This is pretty good. It's actually quite lenient, and this is also a preferred method of recovery if you wish to quickly get off the ground. So tech rolling or side rolling is really good for that. In addition, quick side tech rolls is very important in getting out of certain combo pickup situations. For example, Josie's forward 1+2 into dash down forward 1-4-2. If you do not quick side tech roll this, Josie can pick you off the ground with down forward 4, resetting the combo and juggling you further. If you do, however, quick side tech roll, you can avoid this pickup and block the follow-ups. This is now just one example of the importance of quick side tech rolling. Back roll. This is the second method of tech rolling, back rolling, performed by holding back before landing on the ground. From a back roll, you recover in standing, unlike you do in quick side tech rolls where you recover in crouching. The timing for back rolls doesn't really have to be strict at all. You can just simply hold back while in the air, and upon landing, your character will automatically do a back roll. It might not look like a back roll when you land a face up feet away, but in this case, you'll see the character slide back a little bit before recovering. And just like in quick side tech rolls, back rolls have their uses in avoiding certain situations as well. For example, if Katarina ends any of her combos with a Harrier 2, she is guaranteed to get a lower axle, which is up back 4. However, if you hold back to roll after getting hit by Harrier 2, you will roll back, allowing you to block the lower axle kick, thus not being guaranteed at all. Quick recovery. This is the last and final landing recovery method, and it's the quick recovery. This is performed by holding forward before landing on the ground, much like you did with the back roll. The timing is not strict, just like the back roll, so hold forward. This recovery method is exclusive to face up feet towards position and cannot be performed when landing from any other position. If you try holding forward when landing in any other position, you'll perform a front roll, but more on that later. Upon landing on the ground, the character will perform a kip up attack. This attack is +3 on hit, gaining you a massive 4 points of damage, which is half the amount of damage as a standard jab. And on block, the frame advantages really vary between +2 to -2, something like that, depending on how shallow or deep it hits. Now, I want to caution, this attack should not be used very often because it is a very high risk, very low reward. Because of the lack of range, as you can see here, it is terrible range. Look how close Paul is and this doesn't hit. This is so bad for the range. And its recovery surprisingly isn't that great. Like, ironically, quick recovery, the recovery is not fantastic on whiff. Now, the only time if you ever want to use this is if the opponent is bum rushing you down at range 0 after knocking you down and try to forcefully get into your space. Even then, it's kind of risky to use this attack since it can be simply backdashed and punished. And its tiny hitbox really doesn't do it any favors. So overall, try to avoid this if at all possible, but know it does exist. Delayed wake up options. Now, this section and its subsequent sections are some of the most complex topics in Tekken. The concept of delayed wake ups. The delayed wake up system in Tekken is what makes it the most complicated of all fighting games in terms of wake ups. In comparison to a game like Street Fighter V, you have mainly 2 tech recovery options, such as normal recovery, which is the equivalent to, I guess, Tekken's quick recovery. And then you have the back recovery, which is the equivalent of Tekken's back roll tech. However, when it comes to delayed wake ups, Street Fighter only has the no recovery option, which, I guess, even here, the recovery option allows you to stay on the floor for only about 1.5 seconds. and then you're forced to get up off the ground. Conversely, when you are knocked down in Tekken, you do not have to get up immediately. You can delay your wake up. Well, in fact, you don't even have to get up off the ground at all. You can stay there forever if you want. Now, before we get into the options, I want to mention that all of the delayed wake up options are available to all characters, regardless of ground position. First up, staying grounded. The first option of waking up, or rather delayed wake up, is to not even wake up. In Tekken, you can stay on the ground, as we talked about previously, forever. Now, staying grounded and severely delaying your wake-ups can be supremely helpful because it negates a lot of 50-50 situations. For example, if you're knocked down by Jin, an immediate side tech roll or a back roll could force you into a 50-50 mix-up situation between trying to stand block a forward 3, which is a mid launcher, or crouch blocking a hell sweep. However, remaining grounded can help you avoid these two options. You can also get hit by other things, so staying grounded doesn't absolve you from damage. You can still get hit by attacks that hit grounded. For instance, Jin's forward 4. Wow, that's a lot of foof sounds. But you can get hit by Jin's forward 4. But being hit while on the ground also is very interesting because it grants you then access to all of the landing recovery options we talked about earlier. Quick side tech rolls, back rolls, and quick recovery. Again, face up, feet towards only. Now, the reason why we can use these landing recoveries when grounded is because the hit slightly lifts you off the ground, refreshing the landing options. Finally, being hit on the ground slides your character away from the opponent. Coupled with a quick back roll or a quick side tech roll, this increases the distance from the opponent, providing more neutral space where neither player has an advantage on wake up. Back recovery. Alright, now we get into the actual delayed wake up options, and the first one is back recovery. Performed similarly to back tech rolls, back recovery is performed by holding back. From a delayed wake up, the back recovery slides your character back, creating some distance from the opponent. During a back recovery, the character will block all mid and high attacks. However, if you're recovering from a face down, feet towards position, or a face up, feet away situation, this can be extremely dangerous because your character recovers standing with your back to the opponent for a brief moment. The opponent then has the opportunity to attack before you can turn around and guard. Crouching recovery. This is similar to back recovery, except you do not slide back to create any distance. Pressing a down back or holding down back recovers in a crouching state, allowing you to quickly block any low attacks from a delayed wake up. The same caution of using it from a face down, feet towards, or a face up, feet away still applies. Again, the opponent can catch you with an attack before you're able to turn around. Stand up is performed simply by pressing up from a delayed wake up, and this will stand your character straight up where you can block high or low. This is a rather uncommonly used option, and I'll go into the further details about when specifically to use it in another video, but for now just know that it does exist and that it's there. Side rolling. When on the ground, you can perform a ground roll. Pressing 1 will roll into the background, and pressing down +1 will roll into the foreground. Delayed ground rolls can be done from any position, and will cause the character to rotate 360 on the ground. So they'll do a barrel roll on the ground. If no buttons were pressed or held after pressing 1 or down 1, the character will immediately stand up. However, this option can be actually delayed indefinitely. After rolling with either 1 or down 1, holding down will cause your character to stay grounded. This is most useful to reposition your character from an unfavorable position, such as face down, feet towards, to face up, feet away, or you can use it from a face up, feet away to a face down, feet away position. This is because when the down input is held, the character does an additional half roll when rolling. So you do 360 and then another 180 on top of that. Do note that rolling on the ground, however, expands your character's hurt box. So moves that actually normally don't hit grounded opponents will hit rolling opponents. So here's one example. For instance, Brian's hatchet kick will not hit grounded opponents normally. But if you decide to roll on the ground, then Brian's hatchet kick will hit grounded. Front roll. Now the last delayed wake up option is front rolling, performed by pressing forward when on the ground. A front roll can be performed from any grounded position. This is normally not going to be your best wake up option simply because it takes so long to perform and it's telegraphed very uniquely by an animation of, well, you rolling. But do keep this in mind though, as I will refer to it in the next section on delayed wake up attacks. A few attacks can only be performed from a front roll, so do know that this option does exist, but for the most part, try to stay away from this delayed wake up option.
Delayed wake up attacks. Now, with delayed wake up options out of the way, let's go over delayed wake up attacks. As there's quite a few of these, I've tried to group them up as best as possible. First are the attacks from face up, feet towards position only. And when people mention that this is the most favorable grounded position to be in, this is why. Out of face up, feet towards, you have access to the most and to some extent the safest wake up options. Toe kicks. Again, face up, feet towards position only. This attack can be performed by pressing a down 3 or down 4. Now, when this attack connects on hit, your character will roll back while slightly pushing your opponent back. Toe kicks can be great to use in open space because they create a lot of space between your character and the opponent, thus putting you both back at neutral. Additionally, this is the fastest delay wake up attack, starting up in just 13 frames. However, on whiff and on block, this attack reacts very differently. On block or whiff, your character does not roll back, but instead gets up slowly from the ground. Thus, it is launch punishable by the majority of the cast when it comes to having it blocked or whiffed, so use it sparingly. Next up, the infamous spring kick. Oh yes, oh yeah. Shit, this move. Most of you already knew this was coming, and those of you who don't will soon learn about this as you hop into ranked games. People on ranked games can't help themselves but spam this move on recovery. Probably because, I don't know, it looks so flashy, it does a lot of stuff, but I digress. To perform a spring kick, simply press 3+4. On hit, it knocks the opponent down. And on startup, it can evade high attacks or low attacks. It really depends on which section of the animation the spring kick is in, which this is why many players gravitate towards it because of its crushing capabilities and also how it can, just knock your opponent down on hit. However, spring kicks are not safe. How minus this attack? Well, it's a hard question to answer because it really depends on the depth at which it is blocked, right? If it's blocked super deep, like the opponent's really close, then it can be as minus -21. However, when it's blocked really shallow, when it's blocked at its tip range, it can be barely punishable at just -10 frames. So overall, this attack, just know that it's not safe on block, it's at least jab punishable, and you should not be throwing this out there constantly. And before you guys at me on this, before you at me, yes, I'm well aware that not everybody has the exact same spring kick. There are some characters with unique spring kicks, but that's to be addressed in another video, not this one. Cross chop. Now, this is the last unique to face up, feet towards position only. So this attack can be performed only out of a front roll and in face up, feet towards. During the front roll, press 1+2 and a cross chop will be performed. The character will first do a roll and then perform a pouncing attack. On hit, it knocks down and gives some frames on block. The amount of frames that you get can vary between +2 frames if the opponent is very close, or up to as high as +7 when the opponent is very far away. However, in my opinion, this attack really is not a fantastic option because of how long it takes the attack to start up. It starts up in 19 frames, but this isn't including the initial roll. So just the pouncing attack is 19, and then you got to include the roll. And it can be interrupted mostly during the rolling animation or before the pounce comes out. This will be a common theme, by the way, along with a lot of the front roll attack options. Use this once in a blue moon, even less than all the other options that I've mentioned before. Wake up kicks. Now we get to the good stuff. There are a lot of wake up kick attacks, but they can all be broken down into two types, or two categories, if you will. That's the wake up mid kicks and the wake up low kicks. Each of the grounded positions that we have mentioned each have a quote unquote unique wake up mid kick and wake up low kick. And by that, I mean the frame data on them are very different. And I'm going to go over them and then I'll get to when to use them. From a face up, feet towards position, the wake up mid kick starts up in 22 frames, is -12 on block, +5 on hit, and knocks down on counter hit. The wake up low kick also starts up in 22 frames, is also -12 on block, and is also +5 on hit. However, on counter hit, it provides a juggle opportunity. From a face up, feet away position, the wake up mid kick starts up in 18 frames, is now -14 frames on block. On hit, it knocks down, and on counter hit, it also knocks down. The wake up low kick from face up, feet away starts up in 19 frames, is -12 on block. On hit is +5, and on counter hit, yet again, it is a juggle opportunity. And from face down, feet towards, the wake up kick is 19 frames to start up, is -14 frames on block. On hit, if the opponent is very close, you get a knockdown, and if the opponent is further away, and then it's -5 on hit. However, on counter hit, it knocks down. The low option starts up in 19 frames. On block is -17. On hit, if the opponent is very close, it launches the opponent for a juggle opportunity. If the opponent is further away, on hit, it is -3. And on counter hit, it is also, yet again, a juggle opportunity. And last but not least, from a face down, feet away position, the wake up mid kick is 19 frames to start up, is -whopping 19 frames on block. On hit, if the opponent is very close, it is a knockdown. And from further away, the attack is -10 on hit. And on counter hit, it is a knockdown. The low option is 21 frames to start up, a massive -20 frames on block. On hit, just measly +1. And on counter hit, I'll let you guess on that one. Yep. Juggle opportunity. Alright, now that we've gone over all of these options, it should be fairly apparent that face up, feet towards has the safest wake up kicks at just -12 frames on block for both the mid option and the low option. While face down, feet away position has the most minus frames on block for the mid and the low. With the mid being -19 and the low being at -20. In the summary, all of these wake up kicks that are mid, they knock down on counter hit, and all of these kicks that are low are juggle starters on counter hit. To use these attacks effectively, it's probably best used when your opponent knocks you down and just starts barging in on you with no respect whatsoever to your delayed wake up options. Personally, that's when I would use them. If your opponent knocks you down and just charges in, dashing in, trying to apply more pressure, throw one of these kicks out there. You might get a knockdown, you might get a juggle opportunity, who knows. Just don't use it every single time because you don't want to get predictable. Back to front roll. All right, front roll. Out of the front roll, we have the same access to wake up kicks that we did when we were lying down. Of course, because it's Tekken, it's kind of fucking complicated how these rolling recovery kicks work. Trying to understand them at least. Now, I've gone ahead and split the front roll recovery kicks into two types of categories, and it's based on grounded positions. In face up, feet towards, and face down, feet away, this is going to be one category or one group. And in face up, feet away, and face down, feet towards, this is going to be another group. And the reason for this is because in both of these categories, the attacks are going to react more or less the same. They have the same frame data, so it's easier to memorize and understand that way. Face up, feet towards, or face down, feet away rolling attacks. The mid option starts up in 17 frames, is -12 on block, +5 on hit, and on counter hit, it knocks down. The low option starts up in 19 frames, is -12 on block, is +5 again on hit, and on counter hit, surprise, juggle opportunity. Face up, feet away, and face down, feet towards, the rolling mid attack is -15 on block. It starts up in 11 frames. If the opponent is close, on hit, it knocks down. If the opponent is further away, it's -4 frames on hit. And on counter hit, it knocks down. The wake up rolling low kick starts up in 14 frames, is -12 on block. On hit, gives +5 frames. And on counter hits, juggle opportunity. Dun, 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 dun. Now, given all of this information, it should be noted that using front roll wake up attacks is by far some of the worst recovery options, simply because of how slow and telegraphed the attacks are. The frame data that I've listed, like face up, feet towards, wake up mid kick, starting up in 17 frames, those 17 frames are only for the kick. It does not factor into the front roll time or the front roll frames. So these attacks are extremely slow to come out, and I've only really listed these attacks here simply for the sake of completeness so that you know that the attacks exist. But don't use these attacks too often, and quite frankly, if I had the option of not using these, I would probably choose not to use them. If an opponent is sharp, the front roll attack can be interrupted, or worse yet, right before your attack connects with the opponent, you could get counter hit by a whole host of stuff. So Yeah, there are a lot of better ways to recover in this game than using a front roll recovery kick. Oh my god, this was by far one of the most painstaking videos that I've done in a very, very long time. I don't think I can recall how long this took to record all the little separate pieces of footage, collect all the frame data on this stuff. And by the way, for you people who are like, the frame data is available inside the game. No, all the frame data on this stuff was collected before the frame data patch dropped. So you guys can thank Draymond for fucking helping me with this shit, because he stayed up for like 4 hours trying to help me collect data on this. Neither he nor I realized that there were clean hits for some of the wake up kick attacks. So we both learned something in that one. But yeah, thank Draymond on this. You know what? I'm going to do it personally. Thank you, Draymond, for helping me collect data on this. You saved me a lot of time from trying to open and close Tekken, alt-tabbing, and crashing my game. So I also want to give a huge shout out to all the patrons. Thank you guys. You guys are helping me fund the videos and really just continuing the quality of content that we're constantly creating here, trying to put out new and better videos. All the editing, thank you Crossroads, and thank you guys for watching this video. It means a lot to me. Anybody who learned anything from this video, anybody who enjoyed any of this, feel free to give me a like, comment, subscribe, thank Draymond in the comments, thank Crossroads in the comments, whichever. It brings joy to my heart to know that you guys just enjoy the content that we put out there. Well, with that, thank you guys so much. I'm Peter, and I'm fucking signing out, dude. I'll see you next time. I'm exhausted. Take care, guys. Take care.